All right. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is I'm going to show you guys how to do a lot of the things that we've already done this semester by utilizing Excel. Okay. So I have the basic example that I'm going to ask you guys to do some stuff with. And mainly, guys, I'm going to ask you guys to find mean, median, mode. I'm going to ask you guys to be able to construct box plots or histograms, some pie charts, those sorts of things. Okay. It's actually really easy doing a lot of this stuff with Excel. So the first thing I'll probably ask you guys to do is given a list of quantitative data, the mean, median, and mode. Okay, so it's really easy. Let's say I wanted to try to find the mean of this data. Okay, so what I would do is I would type in equal and I would type in average. Okay, let me blow this up so that way everybody can see it. Maybe not. There we go. Okay. And again, I don't expect that anyone's ever used Excel before, but I'm sure a lot of you guys have, and that's fine. So if I want the mean, I just say equal average, and then I'm just going to highlight all the data that I want to find the mean of. Okay. And then it just gives us the average right there. And next to it, I'm just going to type in the word mean. So that way I know exactly what it is that I'm finding. Okay. Really easy, right, guys? Not meant to be too difficult. Let me get some space in here so that way we can just work this way. All right. If I wanted to find the median, what I would do is I would type equal median, parenthesis. I'd highlight all the data. I'd close the parenthesis and I'd hit enter, and it gives me the median of 6 as well. All right. So really easy. And now you guys are probably upset with me because I could have just shown you this instead of showing you guys cross this out, cross this out. That's fine though. At least you guys know where it comes from. Okay. Finally, if I want the mode, what do you guys think I would type in? Equal mode, parenthesis, highlight the data. There we go. That's it. So that's how you guys can find the mean, median, mode. And you guys can imagine that if my list had something like 1,000 observations in it, how efficient this would be, okay? Rather than going through and crossing off the endpoints, okay? By the way, every time you do these, make sure you label what it is or the mode. Make sure you guys label what your answer is, okay? If I want to get the 5-number summary, okay, so remember, guys, for a 5-number summary, what do we have? We have a low, we have Q1, we have Q2, we have Q3, and we have the high. For the low, I'm going to type equal min, parenthesis, and then I'm going to highlight all the data, okay? And again, you guys could just look back at the video, okay? So that way, if you forget one of these, that way you're not sitting there like, you know, and it's fine. If you're the type of person who wants to copy everything down, great. So that way you have it in one place, okay? So equal min, highlight the data, all right? And clearly the lowest observation is 0. I mean, that's a no-brainer. If I want the highest observation, equal max, highlight the data. If I want Q2, guys, what's Q2 the same thing as? Not the mean, but the median, right, guys? So I could just type in what the median is, which we already know to be 6, right? And then if I want Q1 and Q3, those are a little bit, not nastier, but a little bit different. We can't like type equal Q1. What we're going to do is we're going to type equal percentile, parenthesis. We're going to highlight the data. And for Q1, we're going to say comma 0.25, okay? Because Q1 is really the 25th percentile, okay? I'll do it again after I'm done, so that way you guys can kind of just copy it down if you're looking at it, okay? So again, what I would do is I would say equal percentile. I would highlight the data, and I would say comma 0.25, okay? If I want to get Q3, instead of 0.25, what do you guys think I would use? 0.75, right? Q3 is going to be the 75th percentile, okay? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to say equal percentile, parenthesis, highlight the data, comma, 0.75. All right, and there you go. You got your 5-number summary right there, okay? I will show you guys how to get a box plot in a few moments, okay? We're actually going to use the raw data to get the box plot, okay? But for right now, I'm just asking you guys to be able to get those 5 summary statistic values, okay? Questions? Easy enough, right, guys? Okay. I'm going to ask you guys to find the standard deviation. So for the standard deviation, we're going to type equal STDEV, parenthesis. We're going to highlight the data. We're going to close the parenthesis. And there we go. We get the standard deviation. Okay. So now you guys don't like me because this problem would take you what, like about 5-10 minutes to do by hand. It takes what, like 5-6 seconds to do by using Excel. All right. But you guys have the satisfaction of knowing how to do it by hand, right? Yeah, ha ha ha. All right. All right. Any questions about any of those? Okay, everybody feel okay about being able to go through an Excel and being able to get those? Okay. Some other things that I'm going to ask you all to do is I'm going to ask you guys to get a box plot, and then I'm going to also ask you guys to be able to get a histogram. So let me show you guys how to do that. Now, one thing that's important is when you guys get the histogram or when you guys get the box plot, you guys are going to have to put the numbers in vertical order. Okay, so you're just going to have to do some copy and paste. No big deal. So I'm just going to copy and paste. And I'm going to copy and paste. All right, so just put them vertically. Okay. And no, do you mind shutting that door? Sorry, the barbarians out there are getting rowdy. What you guys are going to do is you're just going to highlight all the data, and then you're going to go to insert. All right, so we highlight all this data. Okay, then we go to insert. And what you'll notice right here is that we have a statistical chart. Okay, so up here, we just click down, and then there's a histogram right there. Okay, it doesn't use Sturge's rule. Okay, so for those of you guys that like, there are ways to do it with Sturge's rule. All right, but I'm not going to ask you guys to do it that way. All right, just because this gives us a pretty good indicator. And can everybody see that we have a unimodal graph? It's skewed a little bit to the right because there's more data on the left, and we have an outlier right there in that class. Okay, so pretty easy for us to be able to analyze this, to be able to get some of the summary stuff out of this. Now, on the x-axis, for those of you guys that care, these are the intervals where the numbers are in. Okay, so any number between 0 and 4.9 is here. Any number that's between but not including 4.9, 9.8 is here. So we do have to be certain that we know how to read this. Okay, but realistically, most of the time we just look to be able to interpret it, not necessarily read it all the time. Okay, I am going to ask you guys to put a title as well as some labels on the axes. Okay, so to do that, what you guys are going to do is you're going to go up here to where the plus sign is. You're going to click on the plus sign. And there's this little box right here that says axis titles. Okay, just make sure that's clicked on. Okay, then you guys are going to have to change them. Okay, so down here, all right, I think this was the number of STEM absences. Okay, and then this would be our frequency. All right, so we get a nice chart out of it. All right, and then up here, you just change your title. Okay, so this might be number of STEM absences, something like that. Okay. One of the really nice things about Excel is that you can take these images and you can cut and paste them into a Word document as well. Okay. Or you could even save it as a graphic. Okay. So for those of you guys that are in classes that need to do summary statistics, okay, this might be an opportunity for you guys to make a pretty nice chart to be able to put it there. Okay. All right, any questions, guys, about how to get the histogram? Again, I'll do it one more time just so that way you guys can see it. So remember, you have to have the data in one column, okay, which can be a pain, but I'm not going to give you guys a whole bunch of data. So you just highlight all the data first. Then you go up to insert, and then you just go over here. All right, now this is the version of Excel that's on campus. If you guys have a different version, it might be different on your computer. Okay, so in that case, what I would recommend, guys, is just go to the library and do it. Okay, that might be the best thing to do. Okay, especially like, and I hate to say this, but sometimes with Macs, sometimes Macs and Excel, they don't, what I'm showing you guys doesn't really jive all the time. Okay, so just be careful with that. Okay, so you just go up here, you go to insert, and there we go. And then you guys click on plus, you get the axis titles, all that good stuff. Okay, questions about how to get a histogram? Okay, pretty easy. Okay, if you want a box plot, you're going to do the exact same thing. All right, so you're just going to highlight all the data. All right, and then you're going to go to insert. You're going to go over here, except instead of histogram, you're going to go to box whisker plot. Okay, and there you go. That's your box plot. Just like before, what you guys can do is you can put some labels in there. Okay, so you can label the axes. You can put a title in there. There's this one that always shows up at the bottom. Okay, if you ever want to get rid of this, just click on where it says 1 and then just hit delete and it'll get rid of that. Okay, quite honestly, we don't necessarily need like any sort of title on this axis. Okay, and then if you want to try to put in, yeah, we can get rid of these. So again, if you want to get rid of one of these, you just click on it and hit delete and it gets rid of it for you. Okay. All right. So any questions, guys, about this? And again, what you guys would do is over here, you would just say that this is the that this is going to be the number of absences. All right. And then over here, this is going to be number of STEM absences. Okay, so just make sure you guys put some labels in there so that way I know what it is you're talking about. Okay, I'll do it one more time before we're done. So any questions, guys, so far? Okay, let me do it again just to make sure everybody sees it. Highlight the data. And then we're going to go to insert. And we're going to go box whisker plot. Okay, and then again, axis titles. If you want to get rid of this, you just click on it and delete it. Okay. All right. So that's our box plot. Well, should be. Sorry, I'm trying to delete this thing. It's not working too well. Oh, well, I'll try again. There we go. Okay. One other thing that I'm going to ask you guys to do is I'm going to ask you guys to be able to get a frequency distribution. Okay. So this is a little bit tougher. This is going to be the hardest part of this. Okay. You are going to have to use Sturge's rule to be able to get to your frequency distribution. All right. So, let me go ahead and put this back into a format. That way it's all side by side. So that way we don't need to keep scrolling up and down for this. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of all the stuff over here. We don't need any of this stuff. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is we need to use Sturge's rule. Okay. So remember, to use Sturge's rule, first we have to find the number of classes. Okay. So I'm going to find C. That's equal to 1 plus 3.3 times log of the sample size. Okay. In this, we would just count all of these up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay. And there we go. That would give us the number of classes that we need. The other thing we need is the width. Okay. So, and remember, the width is the highest minus the lowest divided by C. I think it's pretty obvious that 20 is the highest. It's pretty obvious that 0 is the lowest. And then we're going to divide that by 5.7235. You definitely need to make sure you have an equal sign before that. Okay. By the way, if stuff doesn't work, a lot of times it's just because students forget to put the equal sign before every command. Okay. So now that's going to give us our width. And remember, we just have to round accordingly. Okay. So this would round to 3. All right. So let me pause to make sure everybody's okay so far with this. Any questions? Okay, this is the same stuff we did on quiz number 2 to be able to get the classes and then the width. Okay. All right. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the classes. Okay. So the lowest value is 0. So we're going to have 0 to 2. Okay. So remember, even though the width is 3, 0, 1, 2. Okay. So those are all the observations in that. And then the next one would be 3 to 5. If it does that, then you might have to change. Yeah. You might have to change the type of cell. So let me show you guys how to do that really quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to format the cell. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just call it general. Now I should be able to go 0 to 3 or 3 to 5. Nope, same thing. I thought general would do it. Format cell, custom or text. So if you ever want to get rid of, so that way it doesn't do like a special operation, just make it text. That should work. There we go. Okay. And then the next one would be 6 to 8 and then 9 to, and you guys can see that this is going to get pretty long. So it'll be 9 to 11 and 12 to 14, 15 to 17, 18 to 20. Okay. So these are going to be our classes. Right. Then what we have to do is we just have to fill in the frequency for each of these. Okay, so I'm going to say frequency. Get rid of this. And so I go up here and I what might be helpful for us is to put these in order. So I think what you can do is you can just highlight the data. And then if you go to data and then sort AZ, it should put them in some sort of order. So it puts it in order. Oh boy, it didn't really do it. If you put it in a line, in a single column, it'll put it in order this way. All right, so let me highlight this one more time. And again, if you go up to data and you go to sort AZ, it'll put it in order. So that way you guys can just go through and you can just count how many observations there are in each of the different classes. Okay, so from 0 to 2, it looks like there's 7. So I'm just going to put a 7 here. And then from 3 to 5, there's 4. And you guys get the idea from this. From 6 to 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. From 9 to 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have 0, 0, and 1. Okay. All right. From there, what you guys can do is you can find the relative and the cumulative frequencies. Okay, so let me show you guys how to do those. Okay, so I'm just going to initial it relative frequency. First of all, we need the sample size. And certainly we can add these, like add up the frequencies. So you can use like equal sum and you can figure out how many observations. Oh no, that would tell us how many observations we have. So there's 25 observations. So over here, we would just say equal 7 over 25 and then equal 4 out of 25 and then equal 8 out of 25 and then equal 5 out of 25, 0, 0, and then equal 1 out of 25. Okay. All right, so that should be pretty easy. And by the way, I'll do this once again when we're done. Okay, so that way you guys can see what we're doing with this. And then the last thing is the cumulative frequency. And that just means we just add things up. So it's going to be equal to 0.28 and then equals 0.28 plus 0.16 and then equals 0.44 plus 0.32 and then equals 0.76 plus 0.2 and then 0.96, 0.96, and then this should be 1. Okay, so this is how you guys can use Excel to be able to get to your frequency distribution. Okay. All right, so let me pause and just make sure that's okay with everybody. Any questions I can answer about this? No questions? Just making sure. Do you guys want me to do it again or? Okay, I don't mind. Like if you guys just tell me. You sure? No questions? Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure. It's like some people, I don't know, is this boring? Like we can stop if this is boring and then.
No.
I guess sure. Okay. I just want to make sure.
No, it's good information. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
It's good.
I mean, I don't mind. Like, you know, if we stop and.
No, I'm sorry. I just.
No, it's okay. I mean, nobody has to explain
It's just a
anything.
crazy news update.
That's okay. I mean, nobody has to explain anything. I'm just making sure I'm not wasting your guys' time. So that's all.
No.
Like, I'm not upset. I just don't, I mean, I know you guys have other things to do. That's all. Okay. All right. So let me just once more to show you guys how to go through and do this. So remember, for the classes, you just use this. Okay, that's going to help us to be able to find the classes just like we did by hand before. And then the frequencies, you just go through, put this in order. Okay, remember, we can go through, highlight the data. If you click on data, and then where it says sort, go A to Z, then it can just sort everything really quickly. Okay, and then I can't remember what we had, but I think it was something like 8, 7, 4, 2, 0, 0, 1, whatever it might be. Okay. And then for the relative frequency, remember, you just take whatever was in there, divide it by whatever the sum was. Okay. So you just say equal sum, and that should tell you how many observations we have. Okay. So this one's 22. Again, I just forgot what the numbers were. So go ahead, Noah.
So first of all, when we turn this in, we're turning in an Excel.
So one thing you guys are going to do is you're going to turn in the Excel sheet. Another thing you're going to do is you're going to have some explanations as well of some of the data. Okay, so there's an analysis part, which is going to be in a Word document, which I will show you guys in a few moments as well.
different things that are like, there were specific Excel functions that you're using,
Mhm.
and then there were other that are just mathematical functions that we type in.
Yep.
Or certain things that we count up, or we can just figure out and type in.
Yep.
Are those things specified of when you go into that Excel document? These are the problems that you want to see Excel functions being used, versus these are the problems that we can just type in and like,
Yeah.
do our own math.
And I think it's pretty evident for which
Okay.
ones. I mean, there's going to be a list of like maybe 45 observations. I would assume that nobody's going to find the standard deviation by hand for 45 observations. Okay. But there might be some other things that you can do by hand. Okay, Darvin?
When this is going to be.
It's not going to be due next week. It's probably going to be due the week thereafter. Okay, so, but I'll figure it out for certain. Okay, but I want to make sure that at least we get through this to make sure. Okay, other questions, guys? Go ahead.
What was the command for the width again?
Oh, sure. So when we go to the width, once you find what C is, then what you're going to do is you're going to say equal. So remember, it's the highest observation, which in this case is 20, minus the lowest observation, which is 0. And then you divide that by the number of classes, which we just got, which was 5.7235. Okay, so sure. Okay, other questions, guys? Okay. So relative frequency, same thing. So 7 out of 22, and then 4 out of 22, and then 2 out of 22, whatever it might be. Okay, and then 0, 0, and then 1 out of 22. And then cumulative frequency, you just add them up. So, and no, that's like what you were saying before. That's something you guys can just do. Okay.
Yeah, like, she had asked a question about the width, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, do you want us to do max of this data set versus min of this data
No,
set?
no, no. So you can, again, those are pretty easy to inspect. Okay.
Okay.
Plus, you'll probably already have them from the 5-number summary from before.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just curious. What you.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, other questions, folks? Okay, so I think that's everything with respect to our quantitative data. Okay. Now for there's also going to be a problem where I give you guys some quantitative or categorical data. Okay. And what I'm going to ask you guys to do is I'm going to ask you guys to construct a bar chart, to construct a frequency distribution, and then also to be able to construct a pie chart for this. Okay, so really 3 things. All right. Let's say I'm just looking at the female favorite color here. So let me start with the frequency distribution. Okay. So remember, with the frequency distribution, let me blow this up a little bit, and I'm going to show you guys a pretty easy way to do this. So you have your category, and then you have your frequency, then you have your relative frequency, and you have your cumulative frequency. All right. And we can clearly see that the categories are purple, and then blue, and then green, and then red, and then orange. Okay. Now, instead of going through here and counting each of these, which might be a bit of a pain, what you can do is you can use this function. It's equal count A. And then you could just highlight all of the purple observations. Okay. And that'll tell you that there's 24 of those. Of course, if you want to sit there and count all 24 of them, you're welcome to it. Okay. So there's 24 of those. And then I could say equal count A. And I could just highlight the blues. Okay. And that's going to give me 17. Count A of the greens. And then at this point, we can clearly see there's 7 reds. There's 5 oranges. So for the ones that are higher, it might be beneficial for you guys just to go through and use that count A function. Okay, so that way you're not sitting there. By the way, what count A does is any cell that's not blank, it just adds up the number of non-blank cells. All right, I'm going to put them in order for you guys so that way you guys don't have to sit there and put them in order or anything like that. Okay, relative frequency. So if we know how many observations there are, which in this case there's 64, this would be 24 out of 64. This would be 17 out of 64, 11 out of 64, and then 7 out of 64, and then finally 5 out of 64. And then cumulative frequency, you guys know how to get that. We're just going to add together. So that's going to be, the first one's always the same as the same relative frequency. And then we have equal 0.375 plus 0.26563. And then 0.17188. Oh, sorry. It should have been the 0.64063. This is messing with me. I'll try again. 64063 plus the 0.17188, etc. Okay, we know the last one's 1, so that should be easy enough. Okay. All right. Any questions, guys, about getting the frequency distribution for this sort of thing for the categorical data? Okay. The bar chart. Once you have this, the rest of it's easy. Okay. For the bar chart, all you guys are going to do is you're going to highlight these two the category and the frequencies. You're going to go up to insert, and then it's not histogram, but you're going to click right here where it says column or bar chart. Okay, so if I just click on that, there it is. It gives it to us right away. And just like we did before, just click on plus to get the axis titles. Okay, so you guys are going to put in your titles and all that stuff. So let me show you guys one more time just to remind you guys. What you guys are going to do, highlight the categories as well as the frequencies, go to insert, not histogram up here, right? And then you guys just insert your titles, okay? Last thing you guys are going to do is you're going to insert a pie chart, okay? What you guys are going to do is the exact same thing. You're going to highlight all of this. You're going to go up to insert, and then pie charts right here, okay? So you just drop down. There we go. You put a title in there. I don't know what happened there, but there it is. I probably just accidentally clicked on something that I shouldn't have. Okay. And of course, you can put in like the labels in here. That's actually pretty helpful. So without the labels, there's no numbers in there. And then with the labels, we have all the numbers in there. If you wanted to get the relative frequencies, you could do that as well. Okay. So check this out. If I wanted to copy, and this could be useful in one of your other classes. We could just copy these and then we can highlight these and then go to insert pi. All right. And then we can just go ahead and put the data labels in there. And that would, or you could make it into a percentage if you wanted to.
I don't know if the problems that are on the assignment deal with categories that are colors, but is there any way to change the fact that the orange one is blue and the green one is gray?
That's a good question. I'm sure we could reorder them. Yes, there is. I'm sure there is. I just don't know how to do it off the top of my head.
Not that we would need
What does it
that.
change colors?
It says change colors on top right underneath insert.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think that might, I guess if you get lucky, the right permutation might come along. But I think like down here, it's probably best to like right click on this and to be able to format the legend. And you could probably do it that way, but there is a way. I don't think I made you guys deal with colors. I think it was like customer service responses. Like, yeah, I noticed that too. So yeah, that's kind of frustrating, isn't it? Having the blue is orange, etc. Okay. So questions I can answer for you guys about how to go through and do some of the commands for this stuff. Okay. The other component is once you get all this stuff, then you're going to have to analyze it. Okay. And you're going to have to type it into a Word doc as to what this stuff really means. Okay. So let me bring up the actual assignment so that way you guys can see what I'm talking about. So should be under technology. Oh, there it is. All right. Oh, and by the way, guys, the actual Excel stuff, I do have an Excel file. So if you look at the assignment itself, okay, here's all the values, okay, but this is an Excel file already, so you won't have to type all these numbers in, okay. You certainly can if you want to, but what I would recommend you guys do is just go here, and here's all the data in an Excel file for you already. All right, so guys, don't sit there and don't type all the data in, just download it. Okay, so there it is for you guys. So on the assignment itself, there's some questions, okay, some analysis questions, okay. These are going to be the questions that you guys answer by looking at the what you guys got from the Excel part, okay. So for instance, I'll ask you guys based on the measures central tendency, determine the distributor that is most productive. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to look at the mean, the median, mode, because that's the central tendency. And you're going to say, okay, well, distributor B has the highest mean. So I think that's the best. Or maybe distributor C has the highest median. So I think that's the best. Okay. And I want to see what you guys think from interpreting the data. Okay, some of them, they're going to be like answers that are non-negotiable. Some of them where if you argue it correctly, I'll give you credit, even if, it's not necessarily the right answer. Okay. Based on measures of dispersion. Okay, so dispersion is central tendency. We know usually if you have a higher standard deviation, that means the data is more spread out, which means it's less consistent. Okay, so if you have a high standard deviation, that probably means that it's probably not good to use that person, because some days you might get a lot of computers or whatever it might be. Some days you might not get a lot. Okay, so think about that with respect to dispersion. There's 3 distributors. You're going to be able to look at the various diagrams, the mean, median, mode. This one should be easy: shape, center, and spread. And then, in your opinion, describe the distributor that's most effective. Okay, so this is the stuff that you guys are going to do in a Word document. Okay, so just what I would do is just put that into a Word document, and then you could just upload that into Blackboard. Okay, the Excel is going to be separate, so you guys just do the Excel stuff in the Excel file and you upload that to Blackboard. Okay, all right. So any questions, folks? Everybody understand where to get this thing, all that good stuff aside from when it's due? Go ahead.
I might be wrong, but I thought that the same way that we submit the quizzes on Blackboard, I thought that you can't upload more than one separate document.
You can upload more than one document. I think you just have to like highlight them both at the same time. Okay. But if for some reason only I let you upload one thing, just email me the other thing. Okay, that's not a big deal. Okay. All right, but good question. Yeah, because I know sometimes Blackboard's difficult to navigate. I was going to say something different, but I'm being recorded. All right, other questions, guys, that I can answer? Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop recording because I think that's everything for the Excel stuff.